Hello, future nurses. Hope you are all studying and working hard. So, today I have come with a new topic that is integumentary system. We will talk all about anatomy and physiology. So, let's get started with integumentary system.
So let me introduce the topic that is integumentary system. Integumentary system is a system of organs that contain a set of organs that form the outer layer. That you can say it form the external layer of the animals. So skin, let me start with the skin here. And in integumentary system, it's not only about the skin, it has many accessory structures, hairs, nails, okay, and many glands also. So first we'll start with the skin. So skin is the largest organ in the body and has a surface area about 1.5 to 2 square meter in adults. For those who are new here, so let me say that let me tell you guys that skin in every you can see in every competitive exam you will get a 3 to 5 question about skin. So skin have a very small effect, but it's very important. So here, so it has a surface area about 1.5 to 2 square meter in adults. Now let's talk about the function. What does skin do? So skin has mainly three functions. First is protect from any kind of protect from invasion of the microbes. It has a very nerve ending, so what it does, it helps in sensation, any kind of pain, temperature, cold, and it regulates the temperature of the body, so it's helping thermoregulation. So these are the basic and the major functions of the skin. So here I had draw a skin and layer of a skin and anatomy of a skin. So let me explain this. Before that, let me tell you guys that skin has generally three layers. First is an epidermis, second is an dermis, and third is subcutaneous. So these skin is divided into three parts. So here you can see that it will be really helpful. I have drawn this outer layer is known as epidermis, then it is dermis, and then is subcutaneous. So in this, you can see I have mentioned a very important thing, the stratum corneum, Misgens corpuscle, hair roots, and penicillium corpuscle. So what does corpuscle do? So these are the sensory receptors. Okay, so in this is Misgens corpuscle, it's helping light pressure. Okay, I hope it's clear. So it's light pressure. In Pacinian corpuscle, it helps in deep pressure. So it's all about these are kind of this provides sensation to the. So this is Pacinian corpuscle. It's helping deep pressure. Okay, and last is this is these are all the free nerve ending which provide the pain. It's all kind of free nerve ending which provides us pain. So after this, I have mentioned that skin is divided into three parts: epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous. Now the dermis is divided into 5 parts. Okay, for those who can't remember, I can make a mnemonics that you have heard of. You must have heard about. आपने सुना ही होगा SSC CGL. Okay, so this is just a mnemonics to learn. Okay, this is for I have mentioned here about in a descending order. So this is just about to learn. So SSC CGL. Okay, this is a very competitive exam. So first is S for stratum. Okay, G for is our granulosum. Sorry, C for is our corneum. Sorry, CGL, corneum. G for granulosum. L for lucidium. S for C. SSC CGL से गया. Okay, S for is spinosum, and G for germinatum. Okay, so here you can see that. Let me again मैं दोबारा repeat कर देती हूँ that skin has 3 component: epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous, and then epidermis is divided into corneum, lucidium, granulosum, spinosum, germinatum. So this is the basal part. Okay, and this is the outer part. It goes on a descending. But yeah, I have mentioned here a mnemonics that S for stratum. Stratum is means skin, the layers of the skin. So it's a you can say prefix. Okay, prefix or suffix. I'm not clear. Okay, so S for stratum, G for C for corneum, G for granulosum, L for lucidium, S for spinosum, and G for germinatum. SSC या फिर SCGL से गया. So this is a very good mnemonics, I think. So next is our skin color. So how does skin color get affected? So we have basically 3 things. First is our melanin. I will discuss it one by one. Second is our saturation of Hb, that is hemoglobin. And last is our level of bile. So our skin color, our skin color depends on these 3 things. Okay, first, like melanin, as you know, melanin is a dark pigment which derived from amino acid, triosin. Okay, and which secrete melanocytes. It secrete melanocytes from amino acid triosin, and in the deep germinative layer. Okay, and it get absorbed in the epithelial cell. It get absorbed and which show the color of the skin. So the melanin is generally, it protects us from the skin from the harmful effects of UV rays and sunlight. So you have heard about those who have a high melanin, they get, a very good chance they didn't get in kind of cancer, skin cancer. So melanin is helping our skin color, and those who have a high melanin, it protects us from the UV rays. Okay, so next is our saturation. So what does saturation of hemoglobin? So normal saturation of hemoglobin and the amount of blood circulating in the dermis give white skin. White skin, it's pink color. Then the oxygen saturation, okay, SpO2 you can say. Oxygen saturation gets very low. So our skin gets, we can either word term known as cyanosis, the bluish coloring of the skin. So when the saturation get low, okay, so our skin started getting appear bluish. Okay, and the last is the level of bile. So I will not get into deep. So when what happens when the bile pigments in blood and keratins and subcutaneous fats give the yellowish color to the skin. Okay, level of bile and the subcutaneous fats provides us yellowish color to the skin. So generally when person get jaundice, you can see the skin color get yellow. Why? Because there is a huge number of saturation, or you can say excessive level of bile pigments. Okay, that's cause jaundice, and that the major manifestation of a jaundice is that the person will have a yellowish color. So and let me talk about now what does all the three layers does: epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous. So let me start from the epidermis. Okay, so epidermis, I have mentioned here epidermis. So first is epidermis is composed of stratified keratinous squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium is an outer layer. Okay, outer layer, and so it is composed of stratified keratinized squamous. Squamous means kind of square form epithelium. So we have a certain types of tissues and their shapes inside is columnar, squamous. So I will didn't go into that deep. So what does epidermis contains? It doesn't contain any kind of blood vessels or nerve endings. Okay, it doesn't contain any kind of blood vessels or nerve ending, and the deep layers are bathed in interstitial fluid. What does interstitial fluid is? So interstitial fluid is other than the fluid which our cells contains. Okay, so the deep layers just are bathed in that kind of interstitial fluids. Okay, now what does dermis do? So what does dermis have? So it has very tough and elastic structure. It's made up of connective tissue. Where I have mentioned that epidermis is made up of stratified squamous epithelium. So dermis is made up of connective tissue. It have a matrix containing collagen. Collagen, which is that collagen which helps in a skin aging, and so in more level of collagen, and you will not have any kind of skin aging. And when due to the dermis, when the dermis is excessively stretched, it will give you stretch marks, and which is known as permanent striae. Okay, so in obesity, or you can say in pregnancy, permanent striae can be seen. So it contains fibroblasts, macrophages are the mast cell, which macrophages are the cells which help in protect from the other microorganisms. So these are present in dermis. Okay, connective tissue, collagen, permanent striae, fibroblasts, macrophages, and mast cells. Last is our subcutaneous. So in dermis, we also have kind of small blood and lymph vessel. It's have a nerve sensory ending. It had sweat glands. Now our sweat glands are, I will mention here that our sweat glands are divided into two things. First is eccrine and second is apocrine. Okay. So in eccrine, you can see eccrine is a common type of which opens through any kind of small pores. Okay. So sweat glands are divided into two, eccrine and apocrine. Okay, so eccrine, what it has, it opens up in very small pores, and it produces very clear, clear watery fluid. Okay, whereas an apocrine can be generally seen in, it's open through hair follicles. Okay, it opens in small pores where it's dependent hair follicle. It's only generally can be seen at it get active in puberty. Okay, like axilla, genital area. Okay, and the bacterial decomposition of their secretion causes an unpleasant odor. So in dermis, you have small blood, lymph vessels, sensory nerve endings, sweat glands, and the so I have mentioned here erector pili muscles and sebaceous gland. So what does erector pili do? Erector pili is a very little bundles of smooth muscle fiber that attach to the hair follicles. Okay, so you have heard about goose flash, means ronte khade ho jana. So which muscle is responsible for that goose flash? That is erector pili muscles. Okay. Next is sebaceous gland. Sebaceous gland is derived from the same tissue as the hair follicles, and this secretes the antimicrobial system sebum into the hair follicles. Okay, so sebaceous glands was produce sebum. So that's important. Okay, and last is our subcutaneous. So these are the things that dermis contains, and last is our subcutaneous. Okay, now subcutaneous contain areolar tissues and adipose tissue, that is fat, and all the nerve endings. Okay, so generally subcutaneous contains more of the adipose tissue, the fat, which is responsible for, I have already mentioned that which helps in an color, like it contains keratins. Okay, which helps in the color, skin color. Okay, so these are the things.
I hope you really like the video. Just don't forget to hit the thumbs up and comment me down for the next topic. Till then, keep working, keep studying. Bye bye, future nurses.